Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Has it been long enough? Have you taken a look at Ole Miss? What do you see from them?
See a lot of athleticism, a lot of physicality. They have a lot of bigs, so really just gonna have to hone in on post defense, getting a lot of rebounds, boxing out, just taking care of the paint for us.
All right. Foster?
Foster Nicholas, Baylor Lariat. Kyla, how much can you take from that Grand Canyon game and move it into Ole Miss, or is it a different scheme with the different bigs?
Excuse me. We're focusing on. I don't know how to really explain it. I'm sorry. A lot of the schemes that we worked on in the GCU game, we are transferring over. Primarily working on our transition defense. That's our biggest one. But other than that, I mean, it's a totally different team that we have to prepare for, totally different mindset.
All right, Zach?
Zach Smith, Waco Trib, Kyla. I guess this being a quick turnaround, like how do you go from one very good team to another that is, like you said, drastically different so quickly? How do you mentally get over that hump?
You have to realize that we're in March Madness. There's going to be a lot of games like that. Nobody in March Madness is going to be easy to beat or someone that you can just take advantage of. We knew that coming into March Madness when we heard our name being called, that every game was going to be like a dogfight. And I think we were already prepared to, switch our minds from one game to the next.
Jada, Yaya has stepped into the starting lineup over the last month of the season or so, and y'all haven't really skipped a beat. What is it about her that has allowed her to kind of so seamlessly kind of step into that larger role?
Really just her tenacity, her energy. As soon as she came off the bench, we have a lot of players that could be starters. We can interchange them at any time. So really just giving them that mindset that when you come in the game, no matter if you're the first one off the bench, first one in the game, just keep bringing in that mindset, keep going hard. And she definitely gave us direct buckets off the bench. So now she's just in the starting lineup still doing what she does and making a big impact for us on offense and defense. So.
All right, Foster?
Jada, what was it like to have that home crowd yesterday and be hosting here? Did that pay off? Did it make a difference?
It was great. It was super loud, though, super loud. So really just trying to talk to Coach Nicki about what we can run when we're on the opposite side of her and some things that I can get in my head already. So we already have a plan for what to do when it does get loud. So then in the second half, when we come back down towards her end, it's easier because we can hear and function better. But really just adjusting to that, but definitely still having our home fans still being in Waco and being able to experience Foster one last time before we leave. So,
Jerry?
Kyla, Jada talked about it. Their bigs are different than what you just faced. And watching that game, I don't know what the final numbers were, but they were killing them on the offensive glass. How much of an emphasis is that for this one? Boxing out, keeping them off the glass, and how much does it help having Bugs back in there to help you with that?
They have honed very, very. They've said a lot that they score off of their offensive rebounds. So we're very honed in on it. We're very, we have to box out. We have to get rebounds. We talked about it earlier in the season that there's people who are those box outers and there's people that are those go getters. But I think everyone's gonna have to be a little bit of both. It helps having Bugs back because she was our leading rebounder, and losing her, we lost a big chunk of that. So it's nice to have her back because we know that if nobody else is going to crash, Bugs will.
All right. Yes, Foster?
Jada started a little slow yesterday. Do you feel like the nerves are out and you'll be ready coming out the gate against Ole Miss?
Definitely. I feel like if we start better this first quarter and translate that throughout the whole game, first through fourth, not just first half it was rough, but now we're getting in the second half, really just start locked in, know our game plan, know we have to box out, crash, rebound. Whenever a shot goes up, we shouldn't be standing around looking. We need to go try to get a rebound wherever it is because we know they are. Just be first to the ball, be more physical, and I feel like we'll win the game.
All right. Zach, Jerry? Do we have any questions from Zoom? All right, we have Skylar. All right, Skylar, go ahead.
Thank you, Skylar Dixon with the AP. Jada, you weren't there 3 years ago when they lost in the second round and didn't go to the Sweet 16. There's a long history of Baylor using Waco as sort of a launching pad to the Sweet 16. How important is for you all to kind of accomplish that and sort of get Baylor back on that track of using this home court to get into the deeper rounds of the tournament?
Really just knowing that Foster's a great place to be. It's new. We've had a lot of new experiences and opportunities. So really we're making history for the first time here. So we need to go out strong. We want to get 2 great wins. For our seniors, we want to end our season right in this new home court. And for the young ones, they get to continue that legacy with their next team the next following year. So really just making a statement. And trying to keep hosting, being good enough next year to come back here and host next year and continue to win and just make Foster a winning place to be, just like Farrell was.
All right, do we have any other questions from the floor? Any other questions from Zoom? All right, well then I believe this concludes it. And Coach Nicki, would you like to make a statement?
Sure. Happy to be here. Happy to have more of a voice each day. Really proud that we were able to find a way. I think Grand Canyon might have been a little underseeded. I thought they were, they know who they are. When you have 11 seniors that have played together, some of them for a while, some of them, but they really meshed well together. They started strong. They started really confident. They started like a team that's won 30 games in a row. And I don't think they really blinked even when they had a little bit of foul trouble. So proud of the way we executed in the second half, the way we defended down the stretch, and the way we played inside out. So happy to play a really elite team out of the SEC. And I know when I looked at, the top 68 and, we were 14 and they were 17, doesn't seem like we should probably be playing each other. But I think you're going to get a really elite matchup, really athletic Ole Miss team.
All right, Jerry, would you ask our opening question, please?
Nicki, I'm sure you scouted them yesterday. You probably already looked into them. What kind of things do you see from Ole Miss? I mean, they were just really crashing the offensive boards.
Yeah, elite getting the ball back. Sometimes it reminds me, growing up during the Pat Summitt era, so often their perimeter shots really were assists that really got the ball closer to the rim. And I thought they were shooting and I don't like almost fighting over who got the offensive rebound last night. I think they're elite athletically. They play really, really hard. That's just been a staple of Coach Yo, going back to when I was coaching at FGCU and she was the head coach at Jacksonville. They've always been really good defensively and, gotten after it and played really, really hard. So, I think they're a team that plays incredibly well in transition. They play downhill. They get to the foul line. They've shot almost and made more free throws than their opponents have taken. Big key in the game is going to be playing without fouling.
All right, Foster, you had a question?
Foster Nicholas, Baylor Lariat, how much can you take from that physicality against GCU specifically with the physicality that Ole Miss brings?
Yeah, I think it's different. I think we both play in physical conferences, and I think the physicality is very much they're going to chest you up. We're going to chest them up. They're used to playing against elite offensive and defensive teams in the SEC. Same as us. Their league wasn't as big. They didn't have the bigs that our league had, but they have athletic bigs in the SEC. And so I think the game is going to naturally be physical. I think it's probably going to be a little less handsy. I just think the reaching, the grabbing, the clawing, we're pretty marked up from that game. I think the game will be more about body physicality and less about, reaching, grabbing, that type of thing.
All right, we have a question back there.
Parker Ream, Fox 44 here in Waco. Just talking about
how good Ole Miss is in transition. It seemed like that really killed you guys in the first half of that Grand Canyon game. How do you use that coming into this game, and what's the mentality in that regard?
Yeah, you have to, first of all, you have to take care of the basketball. If there was a problem we had in particular early, we turned it over. We ended up with, on a couple possessions, 2 people laying on the floor. You're not going to stop them 5-on-3, that's for sure. It's going to be a wave coming down the floor. I think when our shot selection is better, when we're making better decisions, then all of a sudden, you've got 2 back. You're not putting yourself in those type of situations. So I think a big part of keeping them out of transition is effectively running offense, taking the right shots, making the right passes, not forcing things, not taking spinning, fading type shots, and staying on our feet. And so I think that's a big part of the game is how we handle ourselves at the offensive end is going to dictate the way they run at us on defense.
Adam, ABC 25 Waco. Coach, another game at the Foster Pavilion on Sunday. What does it mean to you that you get another home crowd? And also, is there kind of a bittersweet feeling with the final practices at the Foster with the seniors?
Yeah, I don't feel very nostalgic right now. I think we're very much in preparation mode, so you're not thinking about that. I think when the final buzzer sounds, regardless of what the scoreboard says, I think then that will kick in. Hopefully it's because we're celebrating and we can talk about that, but I definitely want Sarah to make a basket, like these last 2 games, as good as she was defensively. And I thought she was the difference maker in the game yesterday. The TCU game and last night, she didn't have a field goal in either game. So I know I don't want that for her, for sure, but I think this is what you play all season for. It's the difference between the men's game and the women's game. And someday our game will be at the place where these games will be on neutral floors. But until then, the resume that you build throughout the course of the season impacts your ability to be in these situations. And it doesn't mean that Ole Miss isn't deserving. They clearly were 1 seed away from hosting. And so their resume is very, very good. And I think similar to us, I think they got better as the season went along. I think they were playing their best basketball at the end, played Texas great in the SEC tournament. And so, I just think I'm excited that, we get to make some noise, that our fans get to make some noise and support our team and hopefully lift us tomorrow.
All right, we have Zach from Waco Trib.
Zach Smith, Waco Trib. Coach, Yaya scored a lot at Ohio, and I guess when you brought her here, did you tell her, give her a heads up what her role was going to be, that it was going to be this diminished? And then do you think that history has helped with her starting over the last month?
Yeah. First of all, one of our sayings, and I don't say this in a disrespectful way, but we, even when we're looking in the portal, there is a leading scorer on every bad team. And just because you're a leading scorer does not make you an elite player. Someone's going to get the shots. What we saw in Yaya is a player that we felt like had the ability to play at this level, to be effective at this level. But she was going to have to learn shot selection. When you're the best player on your team, when you're the playmaker, you can have 4 and 5 turnovers a game. You can take a lot of shots that we would consider bad shots because maybe it's a better shot than the guy next to you. And so a big part of Yaya's growth was, learning to play in a system, learning to play with other great players, which is what she wanted. Yaya's dream is to continue to play and be a professional. You have to learn to play with good players. And you have to learn to pass the basketball and not just be right-hand dominant and drive downhill and shoot threes, And so I think Yaya learning to read screens. I mean, if you look at a year ago to now, Yaya had a really high usage rate last year. One of the highest in our league. And a lot of that I attributed to when I got her in, I thought she was capable of giving us something that no one on our team could, the downhill ability, the and one ability. But everything was for her to drive right. And I went to her early and often when I checked her in because defensively, she was going to mess up. And so I wanted to get to them before they got to us. And so fast forward a year where at times we started her on San Antonio yesterday. We've put her on elite scores. You know, I don't start games with plays for her. I let her flow into actions and not put her in position where it's like, go make a play. It's like, let the game come to you. So like she's just come a long way, you know? And as much as anything, Yaya had to grow in her like emotional maturity. She's a pleaser. She wants to do well. She's frustrated when she makes mistakes, when she turns it over. And she had a hard time playing through mistakes and not turning one into two. So that's the biggest growth, you know, as she's gone from one year to a next. And even within this year is getting her over the hump. I mean, anyone can see me grab her when she comes out of the game. You know, it's the calming. It's like, you're going to be all right. I'm going to put you back in. Relax, because she wants to do well, you know, and it's not selfish. She wants to help her team.
All right, we have a question in the back.
Chad Vothry and KWTX in Waco. Coach, we were just talking to Sarah. She's in kind of like the 1% of fifth years who stay at the same school. Kind of looking back on when you first started here, how do you think your career here, I guess your start to Baylor, would have been different if Sarah had not stayed, you know, from the transition of coaches?
Well, I've been busier in the portal, that's for sure. You know, I think Sarah, everyone's different, but like, this is home. Like, Sarah says she's leaving, but I'm pretty sure y'all are going to see her around. Like, I just think Baylor has become home. It's comfortable. And there are players that don't like being uncomfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like routine. Doesn't mean when things aren't, you know, you don't shake things up. There's like adventure and fun and challenge and all of that and change. But I think for Sarah, you know, I think her first year was really a fun year, because I think, you know, she talked that whole summer as she was in her sling when I took the job, and then we were working through the labral tear. And, you know, when she got subbed in when Dede got hurt in that Elite Eight game, and they didn't guard her and she wasn't confident enough to shoot it late, that was just like, that drove her. That drove her to never put herself in position where she didn't want to take that shot, didn't believe she should take that shot. And so I think, you know, she was really motivated. I think her first year, when she got to play with Nalissa, and, you know, once she turned the corner of Nalissa, there's not a magnet and the ball doesn't have to go to her. I think Sarah became elite really fast for us. And then I think what Sarah's had to deal with since then, you know, the foot injuries, the wrist injuries, you name it, like, she's found a way. Like last year, she wasn't as effective as she is this year, because she's learned to play with a little bit of the limitations that she has based on kind of her body, which she didn't have her first 3 years at Baylor. But when you look at these last two, she's played maybe with not the same burst, and so change of speed, change of direction, when to give it up, you know, not trying to do things you can't do. I think she's just learned to be a really elite passer and a really elite leader. So I don't know what Sarah would do without Baylor, to be honest with you. So there's like two sides of that. Don't listen to what she says, because I don't know what she would have done.
Lori Fogelman, Baylor Radio. Coach Nicki, we all knew that Bugs would be back, but what was it like for her, for you, and for the team when she entered the game?
Yeah, I think there's just a confidence that comes from having someone out there that they know is an elite teammate first and foremost. So it's not always about what do you bring in terms of scoring, what do you bring. It's who is she, the human? And I think Bugs is someone that makes everybody else better, because she's not selfish, because she's going to set screens for her teammates, because she's going to rebound the basketball, because she's going to know her defensive assignment. She may not guard it perfectly every time, but there's never a sense of she's not about winning. She's not about team. And so I think that was the biggest thing. I mean, there was some rust, some obvious rust, and I think it probably, in some ways, when you look at what GCU was good at, and then maybe Bugs coming back, I mean, they freaking attacked her dribble, right? Like and there were 2 times where it was just like, she put the ball down and it was gone, you know? And I think understanding, like, that's, you got to play lower against a team like that. You got to get your shoulder by them. You can't put the ball out in front of you. Probably wasn't the easiest game for her to come back in, but I thought she gave us really good minutes. I thought she had some really good defensive possessions late for us, some late blocks, late rotations, and so we kept her right where we were supposed to. And hopefully she just grows. It's hard. It's not easy when you haven't had the rhythm of practice, even though she's been back for 8 days, that's still not game. That's not game ready. It's not her seeing the ball go in the basket type thing. So I thought she did really well considering.
All right. Yes.
Going along that Bugs tangent, you've talked all season long how you never want to take her off the floor. How hard has it been for you as a coach to have to say, okay,
the hardest part was the look in her eyes in the first half. She just, Bugs never drops her head. And so when I subbed her in the first half, I'm like, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. And so, because my hard cap was 20 minutes. And so, I took her out with 2 minutes to go and she was at 18, whatever. And I thought they were helping off of her and we needed Bella's ability to stretch at that point. And Bella hit that 3 late, which was really key. But, I think it was more the look in her eye than anything for me, because it wasn't that she wasn't executing or not giving us her best. It was, I wanted to have some minutes in the second half to play with. So she played longer in the second half than she did the first half. But, it's not easy when you're someone that's used to playing 30, 32, 34, 36, minutes to be at that 15 to 20 minute restriction.
All right. Any other questions from the floor? Jerry?
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider, since I forgot it the first time. Nicki, with their size, how important, and they're hitting the glass and all that, how important is it to keep Nettie on the floor as long as you can?
If you ask me that question first in every game, I would tell you it's the most important thing in every game we play. And so it doesn't matter who we're playing. Nettie is playing like an All-American right now. And if Nettie had played like this for the first half of the season, she would have been an All-American. She is putting up All-American numbers right now. And so it's always going to be the most important thing, because when we have the Nettie that we've had the last month, we just have a decided advantage, and I don't care who we're playing against. And so, I thought we got good in the second half because we recognized that we could get her the ball early, and that we could play off of her. So when they were putting 2 to the ball, we made 3s. When they doubled her, Yaya cut, gets a 3-point play. So I just think it was over time our team understanding that we're going to see different things from different teams. Not everyone's going to sit in deep early. Some people are going to bring the double late. But she's at the top of the scouting report right now. Your game plan has to be centered around what are we going to do. And the game plan might be let them go 2 by 2 by 2 and make it tough. That may be the game plan, because that was the game plan against Oklahoma State. They didn't bring doubles all game long and then they went zone. That was their, okay, we got to do something. But, you have to have a plan. And so I think us learning, what that plan is in the first 5 minutes. What are they doing? How are they guarding her? Are they fronting her? Are they fronting her with help? Do we need to get the ball in the middle of the floor? Do we need her in ball screens? It's figuring that out early, because she is the person that we get to play off, play through, and play to. And everybody's better when she's playing well. It's that simple. She took 13 shots. It's not like she took 30 shots. San Antonio took 26 shots in 26 minutes. So it's not always about how many shots does she get, but the attention she draws is going to create shots for other people.
All right. Any other questions from the floor?
So she needs to stay out of foul trouble. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
All right, Daniel, do we have a question? No questions on Zoom. Do we have any more questions on the floor? All right, well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.